Welcome back to Star Wars Nerds Unite, a discussion and review podcast focused on Star Wars. I'm your host. Joining me as always...
You didn't say your name.
I know that.
You just skipped right over it.
I'm rusty.
Yeah, you're out of practice.
My name's Tim. Should I just start over? Or do I sound...
No, keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Blooper right at the beginning. Coming in hot. Josh is here. Hi, Josh.
Hello.
Jenny's here.
Hi.
Max is here.
Max is not usually here.
He normally is being watched by one of his siblings, but we're empty nesters almost. Just kidding.
Not even close.
Not even close, but none of the kids are here, so if you hear any sucker smacking, that's him.
How can you go?
Yeah, he's enjoying the suckers, not us.
Right. He gets to make noise and we don't. So today we are joined here today to talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi episodes 5 and 6. We took a little while to podcast on 5, so we decided to just roll 6 right on into 5 like you do. And we're going to break it down. Jenny is going to give a synopsis of episodes 5 and 6. Josh and I will interject as we are tending to do. And then we have a bunch of letters to read and react to. So here we go. Jen, why don't you tell us what happens in fives and sixes?
Okay. Episode 5 starts with like a flashback or a memory of Obi-Wan and Anakin doing like lightsaber like training, like sparring with each other. It seems like Vader is remembering this. And then it's like flashing back to Vader in current time. The third sister, I don't know why I'm calling her third sister, but she's there to see Vader, and she tells him that the tracker worked and they know where they went. So they're about to land on Jabeam. So
they being the path, all Obi-Wan and Leia and the Ice Cube's son who saved them. His name starts with an R. Do you remember what it is? Yeah, Roken.
So she comes in and tells Vader that the tracker worked and they know where they're at. And he promotes her to Grand Inquisitor. And then they all being Vader and whoever he wants to bring, they start leaving for Jabeam. Obi-Wan and Leia and their group land on Jabeam, and it's just tons of like refugees are there, and Haja is there, and he explains that he's been in hiding and that was the only place he could come. And Roken really, really does look like Ice Cube. Now, like ever since you said that, as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, that looks exactly like him. So he's kind of in charge of that, I don't even know, the refugees. And he tells Obi-Wan that they can't use the ship yet because he has to get all these refugees off the planet because they've all been stuck there, like delayed while they were out saving Leia. And Obi-Wan wants to help, so that's their plan.
Well, and the insinuation is that all these people are in some way related to the Jedi.
Right.
This whole thing is to help Jedi escape the Empire.
Or force-sensitive people or whatever. Right. They're all they're all in hiding there.
Right.
Well, there's more names on the wall.
Yeah.
In this place also.
Yep.
No more names of Jedi that have escaped. And some of the names...
It looked like there was a drawing of Ahsoka on the wall.
I didn't see that. I saw online that a couple of the names were names that were taken from NPCs from Star Wars Galaxies. So
interesting.
Yeah, that's a deep dive. Deep dive for those names.
So as they're approaching, as Vader's ship is approaching Jabeam, he tells Reva to lock down the facility, and she thinks this is a bad idea, but that's what he wants to do. Like you already said, Obi-Wan's like just looking around, and he starts seeing all these other names on the walls at this base, And there's one that looked like Ahsoka's face. There's this passage on the wall that says, "The light will fade, but is never forgotten." And there's also just this huge pile of lightsabers and Jedi robes that are like almost like a lost and found table there. So Reva is using the droid that she put the chip on, or the tracker on, somehow to trap everyone inside and override their controls. So now they're like figuring out that the Imperial ship is above them, and Obi-Wan knows that Vader's just going to immediately attack. He's not going to try to like wait it out. And Roken asks him like, "How do you know?" And then it flashes back to that memory. It just keeps going back throughout this episode of that memory of them fighting, like when he was training Anakin. And it just, the point of it is this: Anakin was always super aggressive instead of being defensive and smart about things, and just got winning and being the aggressor to like screw with his head. He just was so obsessed with it, he couldn't see the whole picture. So
before that fight started, where they're doing the flashback of the fight, Anakin was staring off into the skyline of Coruscant, and he was looking at Padme's apartment building.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
You recognized her apartment building?
Nope. I had to read an article that told me that.
Somebody way cooler than Tim figured that out.
Correct.
Yeah.
Way cooler than me.
So maybe that's why he was so aggressive in the fight. That is like the theme of this episode. Of it just keeps going back and forth from that fighting scene. Vader gives the orders to launch the attack. Obi-Wan starts giving everybody a speech about trying to get them to work together to hold off the Empire long enough so that they can get them out of there safely. They start securing all of the other entrances so that nobody else, so that, they can't break in anywhere else. Stormtroopers land and start firing at the main doors. And I don't know how to explain this base, but it's like, there's just like an overhead.
It's a cave.
It's like, it's like built in, it's like inside a mountain, but then like they come in from overhead. There's just like a huge opening, but they have
There's a front door too.
Yeah, they have the overhead opening. They normally have a control that can open and shut at the door so that they're protected, but now they can't, they don't have any ability to, their controls are being blocked by Reva, so they can't lock them out or use their shields or anything. Okay, so they're trying to get their controls back and it's not working. And then Haja starts like ridiculing Roken and telling him he needs to look inside the vents to figure out what's going wrong. Like I don't know how he would have any idea how to fix anything. And then Roken's like, obviously I can't fit into those vents. And then Leia immediately like volunteers to get in and check it out. Somehow she can fix the problem.
And if anyone's ever been, a house, definitely the place that you put your fuses and your circuit breakers is inside the vents of your ventilation system. You don't put them anywhere where a normal-sized person could reach them.
Yeah, so they put her up inside these vents, and that's where she stays most of the rest of the episode. She's inside the vents working on
rummaging through wiring,
electricity. So then Tala starts talking to Obi-Wan, and she starts telling him a story about, it's pretty much like how she got to be doing what she's doing, how the Empire, when she was actually just working for the Empire before she knew any better, she had orders to like gather up different families that they were like on their lists or whatever, saying they weren't paying their taxes. And so they were just gathering up these people. And then she actually found out later that they were just people who had some Force-sensitive members in their family. And the Grand Inquisitor had all of these innocent people killed. So that's why she's doing what she's doing and why she turned from the Empire. And she's been trying to make up for that ever since. So you figure out her little backstory. Anakin why did I write Anakin? I'm reading my notes and this doesn't make sense. I think I meant to write Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan starts talking to Reva to try to stall things, and he asks her how she knew. He's like talking to her through a door, like her and the stormtroopers are outside the door trying to break in, and Obi-Wan is just like talking to her through the door. And he asks her how she knew that Vader was Anakin, because he knows that he never would have wanted anybody to know that was him. He would have kept it hidden. And then he's like, the wheels start turning, and he's like putting the pieces together that she was actually a youngling, and she was there when Order 66 happened. And so he can tell that that's what happened. She starts remembering that night, and then you start seeing her have flashbacks about it. She says that it comes out that she was there in the temple, and she was there when Anakin came in, and they thought that he was there to help them, and he just starts killing them all right in front of her. He killed off all of her friends, and she ended up hiding next to her dead friends, pretending that she was dead so that she would get out. So then Obi-Wan realizes that she hasn't been trying to serve Vader this whole time. She's been trying to just use this Inquisitor job to get close to him so that she could kill him herself. And so Obi-Wan says they should work together. She doesn't actually believe that he wants Anakin to die, though. So she doesn't think that he would even help her kill him in the end. So she's like, no, we're not on the same side.
Because it was his Padawan, and Obi-Wan was conveniently not there when Anakin killed all the Jedi.
Yeah.
So she kind of thinks Obi-Wan's in cahoots with him.
Or at least partially to blame.
Yeah.
For not stopping him.
Yeah. So she uses her lightsaber to break into the base, and her and the army of stormtroopers start attacking everybody that they can see. Everybody, the refugees and everybody they're trying to fight, but they keep getting pushed back further and further into this base. Obi-Wan is in between them and the stormtroopers, trying to fight everybody off and keep everybody safe. And in the middle of all this, Tala gets hit. The droid that she had recommissioned, like that was mute or whatever, that big droid, he starts shielding her and trying to keep her safe, but it's like everybody's just shooting her all of a sudden. Obi-Wan keeps getting pushed back further and further, but he's trying to gain ground so he can get to her and help her. He's like they're like in this, I don't know, there's like hallways everywhere, but he's like near this point where there's an entrance, and Tala like sees the button on the wall, and she thinks that it's best if he just gets out of there himself instead of trying to get in and save her. So she shoots at it to get the door so that he's like locked behind the door, and basically sacrifices herself so that he stops trying to get in and help her, because she knew that he wasn't going to just run. He was going to stay there and go down with her. And then once she has that door closed and he's on the other side, she has a detonator. So I don't know what you call it. She has a bomb or something.
Thermal detonator.
Oh, okay. I had it right. Mm-hmm. And so she takes out a bunch of stormtroopers with her. She was like near death anyway. So she takes out a bunch of stormtroopers. So
the droid's name is Ned B, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never heard them really say his name. He was a likable droid. So Obi-Wan like just comes to this realization that he's lost, and like again, I think this was another point where it keeps flashing back to the fight with him and Anakin when they were younger, and I think Anakin had said something like, "You've already lost and you don't even know it," or something like that. And then it was like all of a sudden Obi-Wan has this epiphany in real time, and he's like, I've already lost. It's over. This part was kind of confusing to me. He gives his lightsaber and his hologram thing to Haja. And then Haja like immediately drops it on the ground. Yeah. Like it was just like what? Yeah.
Not the lightsaber.
No, he drops the hologram.
The recording of Bail.
Right.
Did you mention that Bail had sent him a message?
I think that was in the last episode.
No, I thought it was in this one while they were sitting in the base.
I don't know.
Bail's like, I'm coming to Tatooine to get the boy. There's something wrong.
He mentioned like, yeah, if they figure out who the children really are, and like it was just another message from Bail that gave more. I don't know. He didn't want anybody to get a hold of that hologram, and then Haja immediately drops it on the ground. But in the meantime, Leia has been working in the vents, trying to fix things. Lola comes to her and starts trying to attack her because she's still got the tracker on her, but Leia gets it off, and all of a sudden, Lola's back to normal, and then
she knows how to fix the problem.
She fixed everything. Everything's fixed now. So then, this is what's confusing me. I don't know where exactly Obi-Wan... Oh, yeah, Obi-Wan didn't get in the ship, but everybody else gets into one of the ships. There's like 2 ships there. So they have the controls back, and they're all getting ready to try to flee. Vader gets into like that hangar, or whatever you call it, the big area where the opening is above them, and they start to launch one of the ships towards the entrance, and Vader uses the Force to pull it back down. It's like a huge ship, and as he's focusing on like ripping this ship, he starts just ripping it apart like piece by piece. The other ship that they actually were on, everybody was all on the other ship, gets to take off and leave. So I think everybody was on that ship except for Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan was on that ship.
He was on that ship. Okay, then that's why it confused me. Why did he give his stuff to Haja? If they were all going in the same direction, going to the same place. Doesn't it make sense to you?
I think he gave it to him earlier.
Gave it to him early before he went
to talk to Reva.
Yeah.
The timing of the handoff isn't really relevant.
Okay, well, I don't know.
Just that clumsy Haja got it.
Yeah, okay, so then... Alright, so the ship is gone. Some people have died. Reva's still there.
What I took away from it was that the first ship was an intentional decoy.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
There was nobody on that one. I mean, some people died while they were shooting and storming down
defending
the hall.
base.
Sure, right.
So then Reva tries to sneak up on Vader. He senses her coming and like deflects. He uses the Force to like start controlling her and her lightsaber like a puppet. And it's like kind of a pretty cool scene. Like he starts with just one blade or whatever. He has her lightsaber, I think. And he starts with just one blade, but then he does the thing and he turns it into like the double blade that they always used in Rebels. And
uses
he
it like a helicopter.
yeah, and then but then he separates it and he gives one of them back to her and lets her fight him for a minute, and like they're going back and forth, but he's just like toying with her, and then he gets both of them back again and then like stabs her with it, like just impales her through her abdomen, and then like while they're having this fight and he's attacking her, she's having a flashback to when she saw Anakin coming towards her as a child with the other younglings. And you find out, like, he knew she was a youngling this whole time. And he tells her, like, he has no more use for her. And then the previous Grand Inquisitor walks in and he's all healed up. And he says that her rage was useful, but now they're done with her. And he takes back his little Inquisitor pin off of her shirt. And he says that they're going to leave her in the gutter where they found her. And then this is like one of the dumbest, like, it reminds me of like Austin Powers. They just like leave her laying there, not dead. Just like walk away. Like, I mean, I don't know if they want her to still be alive, but they acted like they didn't. And then they just leave her there.
To suffer.
Clearly alive. So then after they leave, Reva's just laying there on the ground in the dirt. And she notices the hologram thingy on the ground and plays the message from Bale about the children and Owen and Tatooine. And she has all the information. And then it shows the ship, which Obi-Wan is on the ship. Roken tells him that the hyperdrive isn't working.
That's not till the next episode.
No, it's definitely in this episode.
No, it's the next episode.
He tells him this at the end of this episode.
Are you sure?
I did, because I wrote this in episode 5
I'll
notes.
believe you.
He says, this is like the very last part of the episode. He says, the hyperdrive isn't working. The Imperial ship is behind them. And then Obi-Wan like senses something is wrong. And you see flashes of Tatooine and Luke sleeping in his bed. And then, I don't know, I wrote, he says, and then I didn't write what he said. I don't know what he says. But that was the end of that episode. So they're in the ship and they're getting away, kind of, but they're pretty screwed. And then you realize that Obi-Wan can tell that somebody's after Luke now. Or that Luke's in danger or something.
There you go.
That was episode 5.
There was a callback to like when Obi-Wan has that epiphany where he says there are other ways to fight, and it's like a callback to him saying, like Sir Alec Guinness saying, there are all alternatives to fighting. There are alternatives to fighting. That's my Obi-Wan impersonation. It's pretty good. That scene where Vader is fighting Reva is awesome. Mm-hmm. And previously when Vader surges in and grabs that ship is intimidating and powerful.
Yeah, but he should have just been able to grab the other ship. It was like 20 feet further away.
So there's multiple instances in my life lately where I've thought the same thing. I just watched Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
And by watched, I mean played
the game.
I beat it. It was the first video game I've beaten in as long as I can remember. Because the games I play are like, it was like WoW. It was open-ended.
Sure.
So in order, they're strategy games where there's not really an end game. Anyway, so I played it and I beat it. And there's a scene at the end, spoilers for a 3-year-old game. He's escaping on an elevator, and Vader just like stops trying to get in there, even though he'd already shown that he could do crazy stuff with force pulling. And Vader was just like, that turbo lift's too much. And I remember thinking about how he had just pulled down a ship in a similar time period.
Yeah, he has power spikes and then he's gimped.
Right.
In other scenarios, and it makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense. But maybe he just runs out of juice. I thought it was supposed to be
that he had to focus so hard on holding that ship down that it was just enough to get the other ship out of his range where he could easily get it long enough. I don't know. That's what I thought it meant.
Yeah.
Or he was just so angry that they had tricked him that he didn't have his full
attention,
wits about him or something. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know about that. He was probably very angry.
Yep.
Episode 5 was a huge uptick in quality of the show, in my opinion.
I thought it was the opposite.
Oh, really?
I thought all the sets and stuff on Nur were really good. And reminded me a lot of the movies. And then this set in particular seemed very
when there was almost nothing in it.
Yeah. It was
there didn't need to be. It was a Spartan escapee refugee camp.
But even then, it just looked like it looked like a TV show. Like, it just looked not good for some reason. I don't know what it is.
I did not get that impression.
I very much did.
I didn't really think about it. There wasn't any impressive scenery. I mean, it looked cool when they kept flashing back to them fighting. That looked like a good scene.
Yeah, that's because it was literally like Coruscant. It looked like it was pulled directly from the movies.
Yeah, those scenes they looked fine. It was all the stuff on Jabeam. It just looked really low rent.
What was the name of that?
Because they spent all their money on the last one.
They've got endless supply of money. What was the name of that droid again? Kevin?
Ned B.
Ned B. He's a Lego. I thought of him because he's like a kind of that underground fan favorite. And then he's in one obscure Star Wars Lego set. And then he ends up costing like $150 in 6 months.
Is he in a Lego set?
Yeah.
What set?
They released some Obi-Wan sets, and he's in one of them. I can tell you.
Except the thing doesn't look anything like him. Okay, never mind. I was looking at a different one. The Lego looks really good. It's in Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader. It's like a dual set.
Are these already out?
Yeah, I think so.
And they threw him in there. Oh, yeah. It's the slow walk.
With the fire, yeah.
It's the slow walk episode.
Where he just keeps walking away in the dark. Like he just somehow keeps getting away. Where is he?
He's over here on the right.
He's yellow.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's like the same size as Obi-Wan.
Well, all the minifigs are the same size.
Well.
I still think that's a really good minifig for what it's supposed to be. I think it looks great. Obi-Wan looks a little... his hair looks so poofy.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Looks like he had a blowout.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole giving Leia something to do, like the whole thing that Leia's involved is every episode they have to give her something to do. So let's have her climb on a fancy space ladder, which why do ladders still exist? And then climb into vents because that's where they're going to put all the fuses for the door.
Well, and why is she trained in this? She's a princess. Even if there was something that she really excited her and that she got interested in, why would it be electrical work?
She is in a rigorous set of classes, and electrical work.
I really doubt that they're requiring her to learn electrical work,
building robots and stuff. So she knows something.
Yeah, that was just a part that made no sense. That part was goofy, and then like I said 100 times already, him having to give his stuff to Haja, and then Haja, oh, okay, and he's like, promise me. What I think he made him promise
to take her to Alderaan.
Yeah, to get Leia back safely, and he's like, oh, I promise, you can trust me, and then immediately drops his crap. Those were the only things that I thought were dumb. And third thing, them just leaving Reva there, totally alive, and just walking away. Like, I don't get it why they do that. I mean, obviously because they don't want her. Like, she has other stuff to do, so they can't kill her. But why would they leave her there? If they wanted her dead, she would be dead.
I think they just don't care about her. She's insignificant.
But they killed random people, innocent people, for nothing. And then this person tried to kill...
half the job.
This person tried to kill both of them. And then they just wound her. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know. Well, we did get an answer to the Grand Inquisitor.
He's definitely
going
alive.
dead, and the timeline insecurities that it caused.
I told you. I spoiled it for you.
Well, yeah, you said he had 2 stomachs, so that sealed the
deal.
It. Right.
But she don't have 2 stomachs, and she has a similar wound.
Maybe it's like her liver. You don't need a whole liver, right?
Right.
But once your liver is bleeding, once you have an internal wound in your liver...
Well, that's the thing. Lightsabers cauterize the wound. You don't bleed.
Then why does anybody die from a lightsaber? How does anybody die? Unless you cut your head off. Why would you die then? Unless you get...
Depends on what you cut.
Right through your heart.
Yeah, they could cut straight through their heart.
There it is.
Okay.
Shot through the heart. You're to blame.
I don't think there was anything else. The action scenes were done well.
Oh yeah, what about Tala? It was sad that she died.
Yeah,
she was a recently introduced character. I didn't really care that much about her. It didn't affect me that she died, really.
I didn't think
the droid dying, saving her affected me more.
I did like the droid a lot. I did feel like the sequence of this episode with like some parts seemed kind of forced. Like when out of nowhere she's just like, "Hey, let me tell you my story. Let me tell you my backstory." Like she's been with him this whole time. She could have talked to him about why she was doing what she was doing, but just like out of nowhere, she's like, "I feel like I'm gonna die soon, so I need to get this story out there." Like it just seemed out of place that she would just start going into these details. Nothing brought it up like that I can remember. But it just didn't seem natural.
I like the pacing. I thought they did a good job with the slow chase scene this time.
I liked the flashbacks and like seeing they're like them remembering how to handle each other, like going back and forth with like this is how they fight and this is why they do this. Like I thought that was good.
I think we're ready for the 6th episode.
What's we gotta rate this one?
Oh, sure.
I'd say it's better than the previous.
You said it was worse.
There's parts that are better and parts that are worse. But it's definitely from 2 episodes ago, which was a low point, in my opinion. I don't know. The less and less Leia has to do, the more happy I'm going to be. But the plot is actually going somewhere now, sort of. So I'd say like a 7.1. It's still not necessary, ultimately.
I give it 8 lightsabers.
I was going to say 7.5.
It was really good. I wish I could give halves.
You can.
No, because I made a stand early on, and no one ever changes.
You don't change.
Yes, I do.
Then change. You're the one...
I change all the time. I'm not changing this because it'll make you right.
I don't care what you rate anything.
I know.
Okay. Episode 6.
The grand finale of the miniseries that nobody needed.
I got super excited for this episode.
Yeah, we watched them like back to back because we were really busy and couldn't watch the 5th one when it first came out. So we watched them together. So it was exciting, like watching them all.
I didn't even fall asleep.
Yes, you did. What are you talking about?
In the 6th one? I didn't fall asleep in the last one. Oh my god.
Okay.
I didn't.
You fell asleep in the 5th one. Multiple times.
Maybe he slept through all the boring stuff.
That was the 4th one. The 4th one I fell asleep.
No, you fell asleep in these. You had to watch them again later, remember?
I did rewatch that. I rewatched the 4th one because I had fallen asleep in that one.
Oh, okay.
And then I watched the 5th one again after I watched the 4th one and you were like, "Are you watching it without me?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
And then we watched the 5th and 6th one together, and I did not fall asleep.
Okay, I thought you did.
No.
Okay, anyway.
I remember being scared of where this story was going. Because the whole thing is like, you knew why they set up Reva was going to go to Tatooine, right? So how is Obi-Wan going to get away? Or how is Reva not just going to go in and instantly kill the 3 of them?
Yeah. Well, you didn't know how tough Owen's wife was.
Clearly.
So now you feel a lot better about it.
I definitely.
So this it immediately just jumps right where they left off on episode 5. It goes to Tatooine. You see Tatooine. Reva is there. You can tell she's like hurt, but she's up and walking around. She starts asking people in the town like about the farmer named Owen, and you can tell she's like really hurting, but she's fine enough to travel. Vader is on the Imperial ship, and they're attacking the runaway ship with Roken and all the refugees. It's not looking good for them. Leia is like trying to cheer people up on the ship. Like there's children and everything, and she's trying to like distract people that are scared. So Obi-Wan decides he's gonna leave the ship and go to Vader to fight him, or to give them a distraction, to give Roken a chance to fix the ship so that he can get everyone safe. So he's trying to tell Leia goodbye. She's very, very upset. And then he makes Haja promise that he'll get Leia home safe. And it keeps going back and forth from like them on the ship in outer space and then Tatooine. So back on Tatooine, there's a townsperson that finds Owen and warns him about how Reva is looking for him. So Owen gets back home and he wants to run and hide and like just get out of there. And his wife wants to stay and fight. And she doesn't want to leave their home or put anybody else in danger trying to get away. And she has like hidden guns. And she just knows. She's like, well, she's going to come here after dark. So we'll be up waiting for her. And she won't know that we're, waiting. So that we're going to be ready and take her off guard. So they're getting ready for an attack, and then back in outer space, Obi-Wan is still there. He's trying to make things right with Leia. He gives her an empty blaster holster.
It was Tala's.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. She gives him a big hug. He promises her that he's going to come back and see her again. And then Obi-Wan is trying to talk to Qui-Gon again, and he tells him that things are going to end today, whether he dies or Anakin does. He thinks it's all going to be over. And you can see on Vader's ship, the Grand Inquisitor is more interested in just wiping out all the refugees than following Obi-Wan, but Vader really only cares about chasing Obi-Wan. So they're not really agreeing about what to do, but obviously Vader's in charge. Obi-Wan leaves the ship on a little transport or something, whatever they're called, and just to some other random planet. I don't know what it is. And then the Imperial ship follows him down, and Vader tells everybody else he's going to go fight Obi-Wan alone. Before Obi-Wan gets out of his ship, or like right when he gets there, he realizes that Leia had put Lola in his robes, like in his pocket. I don't know what Lola's gonna do. Like, he was just like touched that Leia did that. It was just a little moment. And then he's like trying to prepare himself for facing Vader. I hate how it goes back and forth. I should retype my notes and do it. Like, this is this is everything that happened on the ship. This is everything that happened on Tatooine. But now it flips back to Tatooine, and Reva has found the farm. It took her till after dark. And she enters, like, their farm or home or whatever. It's, like, open in the center. There's, like, a courtyard area that's in the center that's completely open.
Much like the Rebel base was.
Yeah. She enters that open area, and Owen and Beru, is that how you say her name?
Yep.
They're waiting for her. So they're shooting at her. They're throwing stuff at her. They have, like, higher ground than her.
They have the high ground? Is that what you said?
Yeah, they have the high ground. Mm-hmm.
But they ultimately tell Luke to run through a secret hole.
They told Luke that they made up some story about other
Tusken Raiders are coming.
People in town that might be, they're like, we might get attacked later, just so you know, there might be an attack. And they tell him to stay locked no matter what he hears, but then later on they tell him to run. But now it goes back to Vader and Obi-Wan. Vader exits his ship, and Obi-Wan is waiting for him. The planet, it's, like, dark and really foggy, and there's all these very, like, spiky rock formations everywhere. They start fighting. You can see a moon in the background. It just doesn't look like a regular moon. I don't know how to explain it, but it looks really awesome. Vader says, your strength has returned, but the weakness still remains. So that was a sick burn.
His weakness is his compassion and caring for other people.
Basically, like, you still suck, but you're slightly more strong than you were. Vader, like, cracks the planet floor. Like, they're fighting, and he causes the ground to, like, cave in, and Obi-Wan starts to fall in, and he uses the Force to just completely bury him and just cover him with rocks and boulders and everything. And Obi-Wan is just completely buried, and he's struggling to keep the rocks from crushing him to death. And then he starts having flashes of Anakin and then Luke and Leia, and then he's thinking about protecting them. I don't know what he's thinking about, but he's seeing flashes of Luke and Leia, so he just finds the strength somehow to lift the rocks with the Force and gets out of this tomb, basically. And then he sneaks up on Vader and is able to knock him down. And he uses the Force to attack him, like, over and over again with flying rocks. And Luke... Why did I say Luke? I said Luke gets close to Vader. Obi-Wan gets really close to Vader and is, like, attacking him, and his suit starts becoming damaged, and his respirator isn't working. You can see part of his helmet is broken off, and you can see part of Vader's actual skin, and half of his face is exposed, and he can't breathe. He starts wheezing really bad because you can tell his machine isn't working. So Obi-Wan gets... Oh, I don't know if I did this out of order. Obi-Wan hits him in the face with the lightsaber across his helmet. So then he's, like, really struggling to breathe. And now his face is exposed. And it's like... Once Obi-Wan could actually see his face and he was out of his helmet a little bit, he started to call him Anakin. And then now that the machine, the suit is compromised, when Vader talks, it's actually Anakin's voice. Like, it's not the mechanical voice anymore.
It's kind of a mixture.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, but you can definitely hear Anakin's voice in it now. And so Obi-Wan says something, calls him Anakin, and then Vader says, Anakin is dead, I am all that remains. And, like, Obi-Wan is super sad. He starts crying, and this is, like, the best scene in the entire series right here. Obi-Wan just starts crying and is, like, apologizing and telling him he's sorry. And Anakin tells him that that he is not his failure. He said, he did not kill Anakin Skywalker, I did. But he's like, you did not kill Anakin Skywalker, I did. And then Anakin tells him that his friend is truly... Oh, no. Obi-Wan says, my friend is truly dead then. And then he tells him goodbye, and he calls him Darth for the first time. So then this makes Vader super upset, and he yells out for Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan just leaves him there. So that was a really... I feel like the scene that everybody was waiting for this entire series.
The final battle.
I wasn't waiting for it. It's just a rehash of where they left.
You knew that it was going to happen.
Sure.
But, okay, so then with Reva, they're throwing stuff, shooting her, whatever. She gets past Owen, and then Ruth, why did I call her Ruth? Beru gets Luke out to the roof. He's like locked in some part of the house, and she gets him out and tells him to run, and he just starts running across the desert. It takes her a while, but she catches up with him. He's like, it's like this mountainous area. He's like up on this rock formation, and she uses the Force to pull him down. And Obi-Wan can sense that Luke is in trouble, so he leaves in his ship for Tatooine, and was just like this little transport thing. I didn't even think they could go that far, because I don't know how far away he is, but somehow he goes to Tatooine pretty quick. Luke, she like pulls Luke down in the rocks, and he's like falling, and he looks unconscious, and Reva's like standing over him trying to get the courage to kill him. And then while she's doing this, she's having flashes of herself as a youngling and Vader attacking her. Obi-Wan gets to Tatooine like super quick, and it's like later that night or early morning or something, he finds Owen and his wife, but they haven't found Luke yet, and they're just like wandering around looking throughout the desert. And then Reva appears out of nowhere, carrying Luke to them. So they think that he's dead at first, but he's just unconscious and he's fine. And that's where I stopped taking notes. So I'm just gonna have to try to remember. So then Reva and Obi-Wan have a conversation after she brings Luke back, and she's upset with herself, and she asks him if she's become Vader or something like that. And then he basically like tries to reassure her and tell her like, no, you had a choice and you didn't choose the same as Vader, and you have the ability to change, and blah, blah, blah. And I don't think there's anything else that happens with Reva.
Nope. She's walks alive. Off into the sunset.
She's alive. She's not...
She doesn't have her lightsaber anymore.
Oh, she buried it. I think.
She threw it into the sand.
She did bury her lightsaber there, and so she leaves. And she's, apparently going to be fine. Luke is fine with his uncle. And then... after some point in time, I don't know how much time has passed, Obi-Wan goes to visit Leia. She's back with her parents, and he surprises her, and she gets to see him again and hugs and is very happy. And she's like wearing the holster around everywhere. There's like her mom or somebody makes a comment about her having the holster. And then Obi-Wan finally sees Qui-Gon.
Well, you skipped the whole part.
Yeah, I told you to quit taking notes, so I don't remember.
He went back to visit Owen and Beru and Luke. And Owen lets him talk to Luke finally. And so he goes and...
I thought they did that a couple episodes ago.
No.
Oh.
And so he gives him the ship and says hi to Luke.
The little toy ship.
Right. Oh, okay.
The T-47. Then he goes off into the sunset.
At the very end, he
sees Qui-Gon's ghost.
And he says... Obi-Wan says something
I've been looking for you.
Why haven't you ever shown yourself before now? And he's like, I've always been here. You just weren't ready to see me or something.
Basically.
So now they're like, so then Qui-Gon's like, come on then, let's go. Like they have somewhere to be. And then...
It's a new buddy cop.
Yeah.
movie.
And then you left out, so Vader's recovering. And he talks to Emperor Palpatine. And basically...
Oh, Emperor Palpatine is worried that he's so obsessed with...
Yeah.
He's with Obi-Wan, and he's trying to pretend like he doesn't care about Obi-Wan.
Right.
When he's obviously obsessed with him.
So the Emperor basically makes him stop looking for Obi-Wan.
I wonder if your thoughts are clear on this. He says to him... which he also says to him in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, I think that's it for all the endings. We don't see what happens to Ice Cube's son.
Broken.
Yeah, or Haja.
Well, Leia got safely home, so they had to fix the ship.
Maybe there's a comical, bumbling set of circumstances that occur on the way home with Haja.
Yeah, I'm sure they're fine. Didn't you like the scene when Obi-Wan was crying?
No.
Really?
No, because it's the exact same thing as the end of episode 3, which I know you haven't seen, but it's like... I have
seen it.
It's like a shot-for-shot remake of that. Like, they already had this conversation.
You mean when they're on Mustafar? And
yes.
That's not the same.
It's pretty similar. I will do what I must, then you will die. Instead he says, you will try. In Revenge of the Sith. It's pretty similar.
I think Obi-Wan actually shed tears in this one, and I don't think he cried.
He absolutely cries.
They maybe were evaporated instantly by the molten hot magma.
Yeah.
But he definitely does.
I don't know why. This just felt much more...
Well, it's because you actually saw it.
I watched episode 3. I understand it.
You understood all the characters and all the connections and the motivations this time.
I understood it last time. I don't know.
You were more invested in it.
I guess. I just felt this was a really powerful scene because now Vader, it's not like he just found out that Anakin went evil. It's been several years now, and he still, like, obviously loves Anakin and, like, is still, like, obsessed with, like, he can't get over how sorry he is. And it's like he could have killed him right there.
But he didn't.
And he's still so emotional about it after all this time.
So he's right back where he was when that movie ended. He's back on Tatooine, hiding a kid.
But now he has Qui-Gon.
But now he has the ghost of Qui-Gon.
He does. And now they can do that buddy cop comedy that they've been planning.
You gotta go solve some Tusken Raider mystery.
I actually was really surprised to see Qui-Gon because I had just read an article that Liam Neeson was like, there's no way
everything.
There's no way I will do a television show.
Maybe I'd do a movie or something.
I would only do a movie. And then he pops up in a short, tiny little cameo that they probably flew him out for.
I bet you they didn't fly him out. They probably recorded him at his house. Like,
did all the hair and makeup there.
Yeah. He's probably still got the robes.
He probably looks like that every day at home. He probably just took that of himself with his iPhone.
Exactly.
The only time he takes them off is when he films another Taken movie.
No, they just use like CGI to take the robes off.
The whole resolution of the Reva thing was, I don't know, dumb.
I actually was surprised.
I was surprised she walked off, but not unhappy.
I was surprised.
I told you she was going to turn back.
The
whole time she was working against Vader. She was a good guy.
But she wasn't a good guy. She's not a good guy.
She's not a bad guy.
Well, she still killed a lot of innocent people when they were on that base.
Did she actually kill anybody?
I'm pretty sure she immediately started killing refugees when she got in. She wasn't... She, wanted to kill Vader, but she wasn't against killing any other person, too.
I don't know. I bet somebody went back and watched
I'm
see if we ever actually saw her kill anybody on the show.
Well, she cut that lady's hand off for no reason.
Did she ever kill anybody?
I think she killed some refugees. I'm pretty sure. No, I think immediately, as soon as she broke in, they started attacking and mowing people down.
I don't know.
Somebody can rewatch it and let us know. Or if you remember, I'm pretty sure she probably killed people.
So,
well,
I have a technical
She thought she killed the Grand Inquisitor.
But the Grand Inquisitor's a bad guy.
Okay.
What TV did you guys watch this on?
Our one downstairs. Well, we use both TVs off and on.
Yeah, it was the basement TV that we watched it on.
And what is the basement TV?
It's 75-inch HDR.
But is it an LCD or is it an OLED?
It's OLED.
Okay. So I watched this on an OLED, and the HDR for it is absolutely the worst of any show I've ever seen in my life. There is no black. Everything that's supposed to be black ends up being gray. Because they don't do their... I don't think Disney Plus supports HDR to start with. I think they output a signal that says is HDR, but isn't really color graded for HDR.
Maybe you should use an Apple TV.
It's definitely not that. And it's just it looked terrible. When they were in the dark. The reason I brought this up because they were fighting in the dark. And because none of the blacks were black, normally when you see Vader, it's against another backdrop that isn't black. So it's believably black. It's darker, right? There's a contrast between Vader and the other thing in the background. Even though it's not actually black, it's dark enough that your brain thinks it's black. Well, when the background is black and Vader just becomes this gray smudge, it looks absolutely terrible. This is one of the situations where I either wish they streamed it a higher quality or they put it on Blu-rays. Because it's just that whole fight, it was two bright lights and then a white smudge fighting a gray smudge on my TV. And it was horrible.
Maybe we watched it when it was dark. Maybe that had something to do with it. I could see that happening if I was watching it in your living room.
Well, it's not in my living room, though. I watched it in a dark room.
Oh. I don't know. I can't help you.
I mean, you could call Disney and tell them to fix their color grading and actually output in HDR.
I will.
Instead of fake HDR.
I'm going to call Bill Disney. I'm going to explain what we need.
I need to talk to your tech department.
Your Imagineers?
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts on that episode?
It was awesome.
I
really enjoyed it. I liked all the callbacks. I liked the hello there callback.
What was that?
When he saw Luke, he said, "Oh, hello there."
Hello there.
Which is from episode 3.
I liked when Luke said, "I'm not afraid," just like he does when he
talks to Yoda.
Well, yeah.
There was tons and tons of little nuggets.
There was little things. Ian McDiarmid came back as Palpatine. It was actually him. I was surprised at the people that came back, especially James Earl Jones.
What else is he doing? Why wouldn't he come back?
Because he's an old dude.
He's an old dude who he has no need to do it. Like, he's made enough money in his career on Coming to America that he doesn't need to.
The syndication kickbacks for Coming to America gotta be.
Are you kidding me? Yeah. The amount of times that it plays on TBS and whatever else. Yeah. He wasn't in the sequel, though, was he?
I don't know.
I can't remember if I saw him or not. I don't think he was.
I didn't watch the sequel. Was it called Still in America?
No.
Or Back to America?
I think it was just Coming to America, too.
I don't think I watched that whole one. It was horrible, wasn't
it? It was not good. It was not good.
Yeah, I don't think I watched it all because it was so bad.
So what do you rate the episode?
I'll give this one a 9.
Solid 9.
9 or 9.5 at least.
7.4. And actually,
just because of the scene with Obi-Wan,
I'm tempted to give it a lower score just for the whole Reva storyline.
What's wrong with the Reva storyline? I don't understand why you have such a problem with it.
Because it just doesn't, like, why did they even need to have her go to Tatooine? Like, it's just unnecessary.
To get Luke back there quickly.
No, Luke doesn't have to be there.
Why does any story have to exist? Like,
the whole point was to show that Luke was in peril. But the only reason Luke was in peril is because they made Leia in peril.
Right.
But they wouldn't have been in peril. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, it's just... It's the whole series of events is contrived to try and get characters onto the screen. Instead of having a story that's worth telling in the first place. I've said before, they had jotted down a list of set pieces that they wanted to do. Let's have Obi-Wan and Vader fight on a planet where there's a moon going. There's an eclipse on the moon, so it's super dark. That'll be cool. How do we get to this planet? Like, everything is just working backwards from a set piece and then giving Leia something to do on every single page. And it's just not entertaining to me.
Okay. I respect your opinion. I felt like the Reva story was fine, and I think they can use Reva later for other stuff. And I like when they leave characters like that.
But that's the thing is, like, they make Star Wars feel like there are no Jedi. And I agree it's a big galaxy. There could be Jedi places, but, like, even in Rebels, the whole point is that there aren't Jedi. They're so rare that Ahsoka and Kanan and I can't remember his name right now, Ezra, are like the only Jedi that the Rebellion have to count on.
Yes.
But then all these stories are about how all these Jedi exist.
Yeah, but they're in hiding. Like, they don't even know where they are.
But there's tons of them.
Well, I think
but they could have died along the way still.
I don't think they're
it insinuates that they're still
hunted.
It still insinuates there's tons of them out there.
I think it's a bunch of Force-sensitive people now. They're not actually trained as Jedi or trained at all. They're just down to people that are scared that they're going to be hunted because they have some kind of Force sensitivity.
Like Cal Kestis.
From
Jedi Fallen Order. One video
Yet another Jedi who has the magical tablets that tell him where every Jedi is. Every Force-sensitive child in the galaxy is.
Yeah, I feel like that
they're all on
database would get out of date pretty quick.
I still think they're hamstrung. They keep hamstringing themselves. They're trying to tell stories in the period of time of which the movies take place. In, adjacent, around, near the movies. And there's just this precedent that they've always got to break the precedent and then try and circle back and make it fit so it's not a loop, a plot hole. Like the Inquisitor dying. Why did they have to have a whole episode to try and fake people out that the Inquisitor was dead? It's stupid. Like, there was no point in doing that.
I think it was just to give her the job. Like, to make her keep going.
Why does she need the pins?
So that she was the one chasing people to give her a bigger role in the story.
Oh, sorry. So that she was closer to Vader. Just to get her closer to Vader. So she kept...
It was a plot twist.
But it's a stupid one. Like, it's not necessary.
It's not that stupid. She was a traumatized child.
I don't think almost anybody at all had any idea that wasn't a brand new character, too. Almost nobody knows.
Anybody who's watching this show, I'm going to guess, has some knowledge of Rebels.
No, I talked to people and they thought that the Grand Inquisitors were new.
Who did you talk to? James?
She took a poll
between James,
everyone at her work.
Oh, people at your job?
No, I did.
How many people do you work with now? 3 on a day.
On any given day, I thought there's 4 people, probably 4 or 5 with me. I mean, because I'm in training, so I'm an extra person.
Yeah.
So there should be like 4.
She took a poll with those people.
No, I didn't.
And they were like,
"Who are these Inquisitors?
What's an Obi-Wan?"
So was the Emperor the Chancellor?
Isn't that what your sister said?
Yeah, that's why I brought it. That's a callback. I don't know. I'm sure there's lots of people that enjoyed the show, and that's great. I'm glad they enjoyed it. I think it was a waste of money.
I don't. I enjoyed it.
They could have spent all that money telling a more interesting story.
I think, when you were talking about how they're in the exact same place they were on Mustafar or whatever, I think it's whatever. Maybe Obi-Wan is in the same place, but Obi-Wan also just found out that Anakin was still alive, for one, but it shows that
But that's
Anakin
only because he cut
there.
him, the whole story of him cutting himself off from the Force,
but
right?
Also, it showed that Anakin is still there too, like that he's still obsessed with Obi-Wan and still cares, and it's not just this.
But everybody, you knew he was obsessed with Obi-Wan.
I don't know.
Like, it doesn't change it. The whole reason that he didn't know, like, the show created the problems it sought to solve, but those problems didn't need to be created. Like, nobody was going, tossing and turning in their sleep, trying to understand some of these problems what did Leia do for 20 years?
Now that there's a new problem, like, how does Obi-Wan age and look like an 80-year-old in 7 years from now?
Go from a suave-looking mid-30s, early 40s to a fossil.
He's not, though.
In the show, he is. He looks like he's in his
Luke
early
is
40s.
I know, but in real life, he's
well, I understand that, but the character looks that way.
He looks like he's 50 at most, 50-ish, and Luke is 10.
Yeah, I know.
And in 7 years, he looks like he's 80.
It's all that training that he does with Obi-Wan or with Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
Or the shenanigans they get up to together.
Maybe he learns stage makeup in one of their adventures, and he has to look old.
Maybe he sends himself
because otherwise
from
Luke would
future.
Recognize him instead of just having heard of a guy named Old Ben. Not piecing it together. What about that guy who gave me my favorite toy in the entire world, who is also named Ben?
I think he means Old Ben Kenobi. Uh-oh.
Did we rate it? Did we give lightsabers?
Yeah, we did.
Okay,
we
good.
Did. No, we got to read the letters now.
Here we go. This one's from T-Dog. He says, "What's up, SWNU crew?" I made that up. SWNU. SWNU. I like it. So the biggest question on everyone's mind, what the HE double hockey sticks ever happened to Barriss Offee? We've literally heard nothing about her since the Clone Wars. That's the biggest question.
So it's his biggest question.
Where is she?
I mean, it could have been Reva. Reva could have been Barriss Offee. Isn't, though.
Wasn't Barriss Offee an alien Jedi?
Well, I'm just saying, like, they could have used Barriss instead of Reva.
Oh.
Like, why introduce a new character?
Why not?
Why? I have no problem with them introducing new characters, but it's like, they didn't need to.
Then he says, my real question, because that was a fake one, is how do you think the series will wrap up? I'm not going to answer that question because we just did, because we already know. I'm sorry we didn't get back to you. Although I think we emailed him back. Anyway, he says, obviously Kenobi and Vader will fight again without a clear winner, which they do. No one dies. My guess is Vader dominates the fight while Kenobi keeps trying to get him to turn back to the light side. Then Vader does something dumb in his rage and Kenobi takes advantage, incapacitating Vader and escapes. Kenobi is still the master and Vader the learner. Cue A New Hope.
Didn't quite go that way.
No, not exactly. Kenobi got his groove back pretty quick and seemed to get more powerful once he let go of some of his guilt, I think.
I agree.
So once he shed that, he was able to push off the tomb, the rock tomb.
And then left him for dead.
Yeah, again. T-Dog continues, but now there's that stupid plot with Reva knowing about Owen. Hopefully that's concluded quickly and she becomes the armorer, ?
She's not the armorer.
How do we know?
Well, because the armorer is a Mandalorian.
Well, maybe she becomes a Mandalorian.
But that's the whole point is...
she's one of the purest ones.
Right. Like,
yeah.
if you took off your helmet, you can't be a Mandalorian. You can't be in her setch or whatever. Have you guys watched the Book of Boba Fett?
No.
Okay, so you don't know this. Her Siege, that's what it is called. Mm-hmm. But spoilers for Book of Boba Fett for you guys. There's an episode where the Mandalorian goes and finds the armorer in the Book of Boba Fett. A series entitled about Boba Fett that most of the episodes are not about Boba Fett.
Sure. I heard it was like Mandalorian Season 3. I may just watch it. I may just watch it without Jenny. Get it done.
What? Like you have to wait for me?
Yeah.
I have to watch everything twice because you fall asleep and everything. You can watch it, fall asleep, and then when you're ready to watch it all the way, we can watch it together.
Okay. That sounds good.
She's not the armorer, though. We can easily conclude that.
If you could have a mini-series about any story, canon or not, what would it be? For me, I'd love to see the Darth Plagueis book in a season. Love some dark side. That Darth Plagueis book was really good. Jenny, I think you would even like it if you could read it.
Okay. What would you want to see in a mini-series?
Anything? Like any topic?
Any story, canon or not. What would it be? My answer is easy.
What?
Mine is too.
Lost Stars.
Yeah, I was thinking of that too. But I also would like to see Rebels like that. Like the characters from Rebels in a show.
Ahsoka might be... We don't know yet.
She's got her own series coming out.
Yeah, might be the continuation of the Rebels story in some ways.
I don't have a specific story per se, but for me it's like X-Wing Squadron / Rogue Squadron. I want to see a series that's in that nitty-gritty pilot, special forces, missions.
Yeah, that'd be good.
It'd be awesome. Have somebody play Wedge and lead that squadron into awesomeness.
What's funny is they could have had Ewan play Wedge.
Yes.
Just age him up and make him skinny looking.
Sure. Why not? Have any of you read any of the High Republic books? I'm really enjoying them and recommend them to everyone. I started the first book of the High Republic via audiobook and have not finished it yet. It was entertaining. I never got into the Old Republic books. For some reason, I think because they're so disconnected from the main stories that I just don't care that much about Old Republic stuff. Anyway, but I've started this High Republic, and the book was pretty good. It was told really well, and it was like something major happens at the beginning of the book that like causes problems all over the galaxy, and it's a really neat idea. Anyway.
I haven't driven to work in 2 years, so I haven't listened to a book on tape in 2 years.
Try this one. Read it. Read it like a real book.
Then I'd have to get a real book.
You don't have a Kindle, or you can't read it on your phone?
I could, but I don't like doing that. I'd have to get a real book. They probably have them at the library.
They do have real books at the library.
Not just real books, but this real book.
Yeah, actually, because I think they're pretty popular. So, yeah, they may have it at the library, or you could just buy one. They're not very expensive.
Yeah, but then you gotta,
store them.
Go to the store.
You can just order it on Amazon.
Yeah, and then I gotta put the book somewhere.
You can read
My family goes to the library once a week. They can just give me the book.
Read it, and then you can bring it over here and put it in the Star Wars library.
I'll steal it from the library and put it in your library.
Perfect. I really hope you guys enjoy the finale and stay awake for it. I did stay awake for the finale. Sorry for the long ramble, T-Dog. Then we got a long one from Jesus. He says, fine, I'll email and not on my phone and not with a few beers on. I still think Jen is always right. Holy Sith balls. There was so much Vadering in Chapter 5. Love how both Ben and Vader got to lose, but also win in this episode. This is definitely a parallel to The Empire Strikes Back, as has been all over all of the other chapters. Love the ending of Reva's arc. So glad that the Grand Inquisitor returned this episode, and loved how absolutely powerful Vader was. Just a few nitpicky things. The flashback was great and served the story very well. I just wish there was some more de-aging and it was set in another place. And the Jabim base looked really janky and boring.
Told you.
I'm guessing all of these issues are because of TV budget versus movie budget. Here is my prediction for the next episode. Since the hyperdrive is not working on the transport, I think the Devastator, I think that's the name of the Star Destroyer, is going to capture the transport, and Ben is going to disable the tractor beam and confront Vader on his ship. I don't think it'll be a lightsaber fight. It could be more of a battle of the wills thing, and Ben will finally become Obi and say something like, always the learner, and escape. I also think Reva will go to Tatooine, and Owen and Bail will defeat her. She is wounded, so I think that will give them the advantage. Then when Obi finally returns to Tatooine, Owen will be angry at him for not staying and leaving Luke, furthering the rift between them. This will also make Obi realize that Luke will be okay if he's left alone from time to time, freeing Obi to have more off-world adventures. That's not a half-bad idea, but that's not what happened. I like these people's thoughtful ideas about what can happen.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Too bad they were all wrong.
Yeah, too bad. So that takes me to my prediction for Season 2. I think it'll be all about Maul and how Obi dismantles his criminal empire. We don't know what happened between Solo, where we saw him still as the head of Crimson Dawn and Rebels. I think that was 5 years later, where we find him stranded in that Sith planet. I forget the name. It was Dathomir, wasn't it?
No. The planet where the big the pyramid is, and the Inquisitors have to helicopter lightsaber fly up to the top of the pyramid.
Yeah, but I thought he was down in a hole.
It's not Dathomir. The whole planet is like this weird salt layer that's flat, and then the Sith temple was underneath it in a hole.
Okay.
I'll figure out what the name of the planet is while you keep reading.
Okay. We don't know what happened between Solo, where we find him stranded on the Sith planet. The Inquisitors know of him, so they have had encounters with him. So I think we'll see that play out in season 2. There's not going to be a season 2.
Everybody's kind of hemming and hawing about it. Ewan's like, oh yeah, I'd love to do another season, and I think their stories a bit better. So I don't know. There's enough yapping about it that they're probably going to do it.
Maybe they'll give him more acting opportunities, like they did in the last episode. Other Jesus musings.
It's Malachor is the name of the planet.
Okay, yeah. Other Jesus musings. Reva is Maul. The Obi-Wan movie had been in pre-production for a while, and we know at one point Maul was going to be the main antagonist. So I think originally the character of Reva was Maul. Her obsession with Obi makes sense, her trying to get closer to Vader and defeat him, the fact that she has a chip on her shoulder and nobody really wants to work with her, and she seems to think that rules don't apply to her. It all makes sense if this was Maul, a former Sith apprentice. In the Clone Wars, he was captured by Palpatine, and he said that he had plans for him. Then in a random comic, he escaped. I think the original plan was to have Maul as one of the first Inquisitors. Palpatine wouldn't make him the Grand Inquisitor because he would want to keep him on a tighter leash. But after Solo, Rebels, and the last season of Clone Wars, Maul's story changed so much that they probably couldn't make it work, so they made a new character and adjusted her story to make sense. That's a spicy take. I could see that being true. I mean,
it's possible. I don't know that I've read anything about Maul being in a Obi-Wan movie.
No, but the Obi-Wan movie had been in pre-production for a while, but I don't know if it was in pre-production that long. But I think just the idea of slotting him in there does make more sense on why you'd be so obsessed with Obi-Wan getting to him. Because he, chopped off his bottom half. Anyway, so those are all my thoughts. Very long email, but it's your fault for calling me out. So happy you guys are back. So ready to create more swag for y'all. I'm ready for that too. This one's from Alex. He says, congratulations, you've all become the old get off my lawn guy. When did y'all get so old and forget how to have fun? Obi-Wan is a great show, and as a layperson, I've got a few problems with your, quote, expert knowledge. Whew. Coming out spicy, I like it. I'm not sure where this misconception that Leia doesn't know Obi-Wan came from, or doesn't know where Obi-Wan came from. Her message to Obi-Wan via R2-D2 was that of a princess of a royal family asking him to come to Alderaan to help her father with the rebellion. Then end of the message asks him to help her personally as if they'd met before. Then on the Death Star, when she is rescued, Luke says he's there with Ben Kenobi and she immediately becomes excited and asks where he is. In A New Hope, she refers to him as General Kenobi, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and knows who Ben Kenobi is. If she had never met him, she definitely knows who he is.
She also doesn't have any reaction when he dies. Like, only Luke has a reaction. Like, the whole idea that she knows who he is in A New Hope is nutso. She never knew who he was. They just sort of added this in. And it has enough wiggle room that they can say that maybe she forgot about him or something. I don't know.
No, I mean, she didn't forget about him, but she's got other stuff to do. She's trying to escape a Death Star, right? She can't mourn him. She's a regal princess who's trying to assert her authority over these rescuers that seem like a ragtag group that need her princessing put upon them. Yeah?
No.
Okay. I think you need to replay Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, specifically when you arrive at Fortress Inquisitorius. I just did that. I did that yesterday. He says, Obi-Wan's entrance into the base is a callback to Cal's entrance into the base in the game. Oh my gosh, it totally is. Totally is. He swims into it.
From one of the fishing ports?
Yeah. 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 Okay. Good job. Good job, Alex. I personally have no problem with Obi-Wan struggling with the Force. Like any other skill, if you don't use it for 10 years, you'll probably be a bit rusty. That coupled with his obvious PTSD, come on, cut him some slack. He's got some healing to do on a lot of levels. Also, I think the reason why he hasn't had contact with Qui-Gon, I expect in the finale he'll reach out with the Force and we'll at least hear Qui-Gon's voice. Alex dropping all these good points, his accurate predictions.
He's had one accurate prediction.
All joking aside, it's great to have y'all back. Love the show and can't wait for me.
For more, I think.
Okay. Just for more. Just lighten up a little and remember how to be a kid again and enjoy the ride. Yeah, Josh.
I don't need to enjoy the ride. I'm here to look at it from a perspective of
your engineering perspective.
No, just not a critical. It's literally a critical perspective, but not looking for problems, but just not holding back at the same time.
I like when people call us experts in quotes. That's one of my favorite things. I guess when we early on proclaimed, I think we did say that we were the experts, but I don't consider myself a Star Wars expert anymore.
Definitely nothing. The new stuff, no.
No, I was much more of an expert of the old stuff, but even that, like, I think I love Star Wars and I love talking about it and talking with my friends about it, but I don't think I'm an expert anymore.
You're a subject matter expert, whether you like it or not.
Okay. I agree the show may not be entirely necessary, but I enjoy the nostalgia and I think it's a lot of fun. That's how I feel. I liked the story. I don't have much to say about it being necessary or not. I don't mind that. And then he says, Tim, thanks for all the Pokemon Go gifts. Keep them coming. I will. This one is from Nerd 4. Sweet.
So if you can hear the dogs, the
dogs are going.
There's a rumbling of dogs.
What's up, Nerd Squadron? Nerd 4 signing in. The dead speak. The galaxy has heard a mysterious broadcast. New Star Wars Nerds Unite episodes. He's hyped. In the second,
but you didn't say that in the Clone Wars intro to the episode.
Oh, did you want to give it a shot?
No, I can't do it, but that's what he intended.
The dead speak. The galaxy has heard a mysterious broadcast. New Star Wars Nerds Unite episodes.
There you go.
Is that better?
Yeah.
In the second episode, with the slowest chase scene ever between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, I got total classic horror villain vibes, like the classic Jason movies. Totally. I agree with you. Halloween all the way. Obi-Wan is running in the dark, but Vader just keeps popping up right next to him, trying to kill him. In episode 3, when Obi-Wan and Leia hitch a ride on the space pickup truck, I kept wondering why these stormtroopers are on a mission to find a Jedi but don't have a picture or any kind of description of what the Jedi look like. I'm sure there are plenty of hollows of Obi-Wan from the Jedi Temple. Those were all burned, man. They tore everything out, right?
No, they didn't tear it all out. Palpatine takes it over.
He takes it over. He destroys it all. He was trying to get rid of all the evidence the Jedi existed.
I don't think so. I think he stored that. He put it on deep storage.
We're going to check the tape. You put it on the Sith archives?
Exactly.
Instead of the Jedi archives. You know, when I have jobs, I have jobs. But I always create a SharePoint team called the Jedi Archives. And I put, like, the oldest of old stuff that, like, people don't need anymore. But I also, for historical value, don't want to get rid of it.
We call that tribal knowledge.
Right. There you go. I call it the Jedi Archives.
Well.
In A New Hope, Vader plants a tracker on the Millennium Falcon and allows Leia, Han, and Luke to escape. Maybe he learned that tactic from Reva. Didn't work out too well. I guess it did kind of. The tracker that Reva used.
They were going to blow up Yavin, really. They were on the precipice of ending the rebellion.
Yeah, okay. Maybe. So I guess that little droid that Leia has named Lola is a nod to Carrie Fisher. She had a childhood pet bird named Lola. Oh, that's cool. Cute. Yeah. I didn't know that. It's good to hear you guys again. Hope we get lots more podcast episodes. P.S. Mason, how is your Ardent Saber holding up?
I told him in some back and forth emails, but it's holding up very well. My kids play with it all the time.
A lightsaber, and the brand is Ardent?
No, the brand is Vader's Vault.
Oh, right.
And so back when we went to Celebration in Chicago, we met up. You didn't go.
I know. But trying to goad you into telling the story.
Patrick and I met. The Vader's Vault people had a meet and greet and lightsaber purchasing session thing at a bar. The smallest bar I've ever been into in my life. Filled with 30 people looking at lightsabers. And so I got one of them there, and he was asking about that one. It's a super awesome lightsaber. It still works great.
And the next letter is from Drew. This is the last one we got. This is another one of those that we get kind of attacked, and I'm into it. He says, SWNU crew, let me start off to say I'm glad to hear you guys laying down some tape again. Speaking of laying down some tape, we've got how many episodes in the can? We got 5 episodes in the can where hold on. He continues. It was incredibly jarring that you guys did not address the huge break that you had. Thank you, Jen, for actually referencing that. We're going to hear about your comeback episode at a later date. So Josh is of the mind that we should just pretend there was no gap, because for the listeners that are catching up
in 2028,
they'll never know. They'll never know that we took a huge break unless they look at the date.
Nobody looks at the date. When I listen to my podcasts, it just plays the next one. Like, I don't know when they released.
Okay. Anyway.
And I tried to address it, and you guys were like, who cares? Stop talking about it.
We did address it on the episodes that
we
went into a long, what have you been up to?
Yeah, we did a little
we just haven't released it.
We started podcasting again a few months ago, but Tim wanted to have like a big bank of
backlog,
them so that
we could release once a week.
Like if something happened, we would always have like some spares so that we would always have something to release. Well, then it kept getting pushed back and closer to when Obi-Wan was coming out, and I was like, we have to just podcast along the same time frame that the episodes are coming out. Otherwise it makes no sense to do it. Like, it's a big deal. And so then we'd never released any of those episodes we did, and we just started back with Obi-Wan. So now we still have all these older episodes to talk about.
We don't have to talk about them.
I mean, we
just got to put
have
them out
to release
into the world.
them. But I don't even remember what we were talking about in those episodes.
Some Mandalorian episodes.
Oh, right, Mandalorian. Yeah, that's right. It was Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We got the Book of Boba Fett to talk about.
We have one more episode of Mandalorian. Season 1 we need to record.
Season 1? We haven't even gotten through Season 1?
No. We have all of Season 2
my goodness.
we have to record. We have Book of Boba Fett, and we have countless novels to go over.
And the new starts with an A, and the Andor series is
quickly approaching. I think we can get Mandalorian plugged out. I think we can get that plugged out.
Plug it out.
Yeah. I think you're going to have to explain
what
that saying plugged out means before I agree to getting that done.
Well, we can podcast tomorrow. Podcast on the last episode of Mandalorian.
I can't podcast tomorrow. I have a meeting in China.
Oh, all right. Important.
Yep, super important.
Diplomatic, sounds like.
Not diplomatic at all.
Is that the end of his letter?
No, nope. We haven't even gotten to the first paragraph.
Yeah. He says, Kenobi. I understand where Mason's coming from with his opinion about experiencing new stories about different characters, but I think we can all agree that this series had nothing to do with Kenobi and everything to do with Darth Vader.
I don't think so. I don't think it was all about Darth Vader.
I think
it's 18% about Leia.
Yeah, Leia was pretty big. I think a lot of it is about Darth Vader because
60% Obi-Wan.
I mean, I think Darth Vader had a big role in it, and I think his character.
But it was always he is Obi-Wan's stepping, like his mental block. It wasn't about growing Vader. Vader doesn't grow at all throughout this series. He serves to grow Obi-Wan's character entirely.
But I think that you see that he hasn't changed, even though he's Vader. He's still partly Anakin.
But he has not changed. That's the whole point. His character hasn't developed.
Right, that's what I'm saying. After all, but he's not just Vader. He's still got Anakin in him too. After all this time,
but all Vader
isn't just Vader.
All Vader has ever been is Anakin's worst impulses.
Right, but he hasn't. But Anakin is still in there. The good parts of Anakin are somewhat in there.
We already knew that. Like nothing in his character evolved over the course of the series. Yeah,
but you would think after years and years and years of being a Sith that the good parts of you would go away.
And we already knew that they were still there.
Well, but Reva's whole character, that's all about Vader. That has really nothing to do with Obi-Wan at all.
It has more to do with Reva than anything else.
Yeah, that I agree with. So no, I don't think we can all agree, Drew.
I think Vader is the MacGuffin.
I think he had 2 of the 3 most awesome scenes
in the
show.
But that doesn't make the show about him.
No, I know that.
I think most people watch, a lot of people watch just because of Vader.
But they only want to see cool stuff. They don't want to see his character develop.
Yeah.
So it's not really about
I just want to see Obi-Wan cry.
I think they don't
That's
care.
all I care about.
I just want to see Obi-Wan cry.
I mean, that was the best scene.
He continues. In episode 5, when he grabbed that starship and held it down with a force, then slammed it into the ground, if that didn't make you shudder in fear, are you even a Star Wars fan?
So this is mostly because it's new to you, Drew. Whereas that maneuver has been pulled many times in the Star Wars history.
Star Killer.
So it wasn't, for us, it wasn't jarring and new.
It ain't no thing, right?
He's pulled down bigger things while drinking a Mai Tai.
It was still awesome.
I mean, it's cool.
It was super cool, and it was super well done, and it was super well timed. Because you can...
But I disagree that it was well timed.
No. Okay.
Because then they had ship B 8 feet away, and he couldn't do it to that one.
I thought it was well timed. The way... I'm talking about the way the ship was stopped, like when it was stopped and how it was pulled apart. Sure. I thought the timing of it was perfect, and it was terrifying.
It just didn't ultimately serve a purpose in the story.
It showed the cunningness of the rebels yet again.
In some way, but it was an unbelievable level of cunning. Like if they would have launched both at the same time, and then they're like, oh, 50-50 chance. You're going to get... Because that I would believe, that he could literally only get one of the two, and he had to make a choice. And then they got away, and like they did some cool trick to trick him, to make him think... Like maybe they had some plants, talking plants that were on the other one. I don't know. I could spend some time and think of this. But no, sending one up, watching him pull it down. Oh, he's probably too tired now. Now's the perfect time for us to go. Then they zoom off. No, that doesn't show cunning.
You need to embrace your inner child.
Yeah,
what did he
clearly.
Say in the prior letter? I mean, I agree with the goofy stuff you guys commented on in the first 4 episodes with the world's slowest chase. You're right. But still, episode 5 made up for all.
I think episode 5 was really good.
Episode 5 and 6 are both awesome.
There was a few goofy things in 5. I don't think there was anything super goofy in 6. Besides Owen's wife being the militia woman.
They've been training for this.
Yeah, apparently.
Let's see. Happy y'all are back. I can tell. Jeez. I just hope you guys keep laying it down and posting them up.
Plugging it out?
Plugging it out. Plugging it in. Side note. I'm now local.
What?
Let me know if you need somebody to fill in for Jen as a Star Wars newbie. Sorry, Jen. I can't fill in for Mason or Tim. I just don't have the skill. But
Thanks.
But a Star Wars
that makes a really good apology. I'm sorry.
I totally got that.
They're too good for me to pretend to be, but you're not.
Right. This is maybe my favorite email.
That was the most backhanded apology.
It wasn't a compliment.
It wasn't a compliment, but it was like, he's like, I'm sorry, and then here's a double offensive thing to say.
Yeah.
Hey, if you guys need somebody to watch Max while you're doing a podcast, maybe Jen can just watch Max, and I could
just slide into her spot.
Oh, we've actually had somebody else wanted to be on our show lately. I can't remember who was asking.
He wanted to talk about Obi-Wan really bad.
Really?
Yeah, he has some deep thoughts about it.
I'm sure he does.
He does. He's actually very thoughtful about it.
Who was it?
You don't want him to come in here and let me spoil him.
Well, we've never really had guests on the regular at all.
I think Nolan wanted to come on, but I think there was somebody else.
I'm a little ambivalent about people coming on. I don't really want it to happen for the most part.
Maybe someday.
Maybe you could spice things up.
We could interview
help us plug somewhere
the man
out.
who shot Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Again, happy y'all are back, sort of back at least. I'm like a month late emailing about episode 5, and I'm still hopeful it will make the podcast. Drew.
We did this for you, Drew.
Yeah. Jeez
we held on.
Yeah, he did make it. Well, that's the podcast, folks. And that's the format that we would normally do, except for we'd normally only do one episode, and it wouldn't be quite so long as this. But Jen breaks down an episode. We kind of make little comments. We have some conversation, and then we read a bunch of letters.
It didn't always used to be me. We used to take turns, and now I just have to do it every time.
You're very detailed.
You're the one that takes notes.
I only take notes because I think you're going to put me on the spot, and then I'm not going to know what to say, and I'm going to look like an idiot.
You can always put me on the spot, and I'll give this notes.
We each have our defined roles at this point, I think, and I'm happy with these roles. They're doing just fine. We don't need to change it up for the sake of changing. Sort of like creating a TV series for the sake of creating a TV series.
I think there's going to be a season 2.
Do I think there will be?
Yeah.
No.
I think there will.
I thought that I've seen references to interviews or something.
Right. There's lots of hemming and hawing about it.
People act like it might happen.
I did hear there was going to be they were going to cut it so that it was just one movie.
There's somebody who did, like a fan who did it.
That I saw. I saw that on Reddit, but I'm talking about like a Disney Plus episode or movie that is like 6 hours long or whatever.
I don't think it would be 6 hours long. I think they'd cut a fair bit of it.
Maybe, but
they could cut out the chase scene.
No, they might put it on 2x. That might work better.
I think they could get rid of the whole planet where they went to Breaking Bad as well.
That was in like the second episode.
Right.
That's when he
just have her originally getting absconded by Reva instead of by Flea. And
I forgot he was in this series. That's great.
I think they could cut it a lot.
We finally finished. I'm just dragging this out. We finally finished watching Stranger Things too.
Oh wow!
I did. I finished it on my way to cheer. No, I saved it. I saved it for dark time so that it was dark. But we were driving back from cheer practice in Naperville, Illinois, which is like 2.5 hours from here. And I had to watch the last half of the last episode.
The last episode was really long.
It was like 2 hours.
2.5 hours, wasn't it?
I don't know. It was so long.
So
I know like the last 2 episodes together seemed like 4 hours, I think.
Jen was like, oh, they wrapped it up perfectly. I don't know why they would have another season.
No, I said until I got towards the end, like until like the last couple episodes, I didn't know there was going to be another season. I thought they were going to wrap it up.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood you.
No, I thought it was going to get wrapped up and this was going to be done because it was so huge. It was such a big deal. And then towards the last couple, I'm like, oh, they're going to have a whole other season.
Yeah. The next one's the last season.
Yeah.
Is that official?
Yeah, they've said it for quite a while.
Are they going to do spin-off shows? They basically have to, right?
The creators don't want to be involved. They already have their next project lined up, and it's not.
Is it Star Wars?
No, it's The Talisman, which is a Stephen King book.
Oh. I'd much rather they did a Star Wars series.
I don't know. I think they lean so hard on nostalgia that I don't know. I don't know what it would look like. They definitely got an aesthetic, and they hit it hard, and they hit it out of the park.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much that would translate to original story making.
One of my favorite things about that show is how they show the deteriorating middle class. Like, from start to finish. Like, where they can live on Joyce's salary, and then she can't keep her job.
They just don't even...
And then Main Street closes up shop.
They're doing all that. Like, they don't show anybody working ever.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Just when she's working in the stupid...
Yeah.
The store.
And then the ice cream
selling
shop. The kids are working at the ice cream shop.
But that was just... It wasn't them working to make money. It was just a thing for them to do during the summer to get them to the mall. Because they wanted that whole season to be about malls and how kids spend all summer at the mall.
I spent a lot of time at the mall.
You go get your stupid job at the pretzel shop. But again, that's all nostalgia.
You know what I wish? Is all that time I spent in the mall, there was a Zoomies.
What's a Zoomies?
The shoe brand.
It's not a shoe brand. It's a store that sells skateboard gear.
Isn't it a skateboard brand?
No.
You just said it was a shoe brand.
Well, I was thinking of like Vans. I thought it was like a brand like Vans.
No.
That had shoes.
They sell Vans and Nike skateboard and...
They're just a skateboard shop.
Yeah, there's a skateboard shop that has trendy clothing.
What about it? What's the point of Zoomies?
He wished they had one.
I wish they had one because then I could have like gone there.
So much cooler in high school.
Checked out all the skateboards more often. What do you mean?
The skateboard store was called Airwaves, and it was a block away from like one of the worst neighborhoods in town. It wasn't at the mall.
It was awesome. Airwaves was awesome.
It's gone now, right?
It's gone. I bought a lot of jeans that were too big for me there. And were you trying to imply that I was not cool in high school? Is that what you were trying to say?
No, I said you'd have been a lot cooler.
Oh, yeah. That would have been hard to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, Stranger Things was good.
It was amazing.
I think the first half was better than the second half.
First half was pretty good. But I really enjoyed what they... the mysteries that they unraveled. Like the origin stories and stuff of the various origins. I'm trying to be cryptic because I don't want to give any spoilers. But I really, really enjoyed the origin stories. I thought they were awesome.
But yeah, I don't think I want them doing Star Wars. Talking about, just real quick, like this whole since Thor came out, and Taika's been doing tons of press for Thor. People have been asking, so what are you doing next? And remember, he was supposed to be doing that Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
And now the way he's talking, everybody's trying to blow it out like he's going to get canned from the Star Wars movie. And there's not going to be another Star Wars movie for like another 5 years.
Why would he get canned?
Don't know.
That would be he's so weird. Dumb. He's got so much like nerd clout built up.
I agree, but he makes weird movies. Like most people don't like movies he's actually written.
What has he done? I don't even know.
The most recent one is like Jojo Rabbit, but he also wrote What We Do in the Shadows, and he's made a bunch of little smaller things.
Is he writing? Written. He's writing it. I thought he was just like contributing, writing. And then.
What is What We Do in the Shadows about?
It's about vampires in New Zealand.
Okay, I haven't seen that.
You wouldn't have. You weren't.
She watches so much.
I watch a lot of really weird movies.
So much.
I don't watch so much TV.
You watch things that mainstream people think are weird.
No, I watch. Well, I don't know.
She watches so.
I watch a lot of independent.
Have you ever watched Flight of the Conchords?
Yes.
So it's very similar humor to Flight of the Conchords.
It's a funny movie?
It's about vampires living a normal life.
Oh.
And now there's a TV series that he's not involved with in any way on FX called What We Do in the Shadows. But he's very weird. Like, I like it, but it's different when he writes it. Because like Thor Ragnarok, he just directed it. He didn't write it. Thor God and Thunder, he wrote and directed. And like, now people are like, hey, this is a little too weird for us. Like, we liked Ragnarok, where it was just like light weirdness. This is too weird.
Have you seen the new one?
No, I want to go watch it.
I haven't seen it yet. Nolan saw it in Ireland, yeah. He saw it in IMAX 3D in Ireland.
I don't know. That's not what I would think to do if I was traveling abroad.
Well, he's not going to like go out to bars and party at night.
He has been.
They went to... they've gone on like a Guinness tour. They did an Irish whiskey tour. They've gone to that one really famous bar.
So famous.
It's the Red Bar.
No one's even heard of it.
It's in Dublin. I don't know the name of it, but he went to a very like a touristy bar.
Yeah.
And he said that all of Dublin was very, very touristy, but now they're in Liverpool. And they're doing a whole bunch of Beatles tours and stuff and museums and stuff. And then they're going to London.
Lots of LSD.
No, they're doing like
the back half of the Beatles tour.
No, they're doing Beatles stuff and then they're going to London and they
provide the acid.
They're going to a lot of museums and stuff in London and then they're going to Paris. They're going to the D-Day beaches.
You should skip that and go catch up with the Tour de France and watch the tour.
That'd be fun.
It's the greatest sporting event.
Josh gets hyped about this bike ride every year.
I watch every stage.
Why?
Because it's great.
Doesn't it all look the same? Just people spinning?
No. It looks completely different.
I can't imagine watching
involved and the storylines. It's great.
You get backstories on people?
No, like day to day. It's 21 stages this year. And so every stage there's different objectives, and even within one stage there's different objectives for different teams.
What kind of objectives? Like
somebody's trying to win the race of the day.
Aren't they all just trying to get into first place?
No. So there's some people that are trying to win the entire tour, all 21 stages. Because you get cumulative time. Mm-hmm. Whoever has the best cumulative time at the end wins the whole thing, the Tour de France. You get the yellow jersey. But somebody's going to win the stage of the day. Mm-hmm. And then there's other jerseys, the green jersey, which is you get points. Points are based on sprints, which are in different parts of the stage. Then there's the polka dot jersey. That's the person who has the most points from climbing mountains. So on any given day, there's a group of people that are trying to do one thing, and then there's another group of people that are trying to do another thing, and all these tactics are constantly colliding with each other, and then somebody gets in a wreck, and all, craziness breaks loose. It's just very exciting when you understand the ins and outs of the sport. And it's like all these people spend the entire year focusing on getting ready for this one thing. And then they just go all out.
I cannot believe that they can even bicycle that long.
It's insane.
That high. Yes.
They bike for 21 days.
So each day is between, I think the shortest stage is like 110 kilometers this year, and the longest stage was 220 kilometers. So they'll go usually normally there's 2 rest days. So they'll do like 7 rest, 7 rest, 7. But this year there's 3 rest days because there was a long transfer day because they started in Denmark. But yes, they pretty much, for a month, every day they wake up and they ride over 100 miles of bike, racing at speeds twice faster than you could ever ride. It's insane. And then some of the stages, they're up in the Alps, riding over passes and stuff.
That's crazy.
It's pretty intense. I'm not up on my Tour de France. Josh will link it in our chat sometimes, and I'll press it, and all I see is dudes riding bicycles super fast. I'm like very impressed with that they do that, but I don't know like all the detail stuff to make it actually something I would enjoy watching.
So Jason Clow. Mm-hmm. One of our objectives at some point, once our kids are big enough, like I keep trying to convince Jason to abandon his wife here, but he won't do it. He doesn't have the cojones to ask permission to go on a trip without her for more than a few days.
Yes.
But one of the objectives is to go to France and like follow the tour for like a week and a half. Because you can...
And take your families?
No, that's the whole point. Don't take my family.
But you have to wait because he wants to take his family?
No, he needs to get to the point where they're old enough that he doesn't have to take his family.
Oh, well, how old? They're not like they're... How old do they have to be to not take?
Probably in their late teens. Probably not living in their house, I would guess.
So you got a while.
Yeah. And...
Another 10 years.
To go to all the... Like, you get up on the mountains and... On one mountain pass.
Are you going to make signs? Isn't it like illegal? Like, didn't somebody get in trouble for like...
You could have signs, but last year there was a big thing where somebody held a sign and caused a big wreck.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. That's the only thing I know about it. That's the only footage I've ever seen of the Tour de France was that wreck.
On Thursday, which is Bastille Day, which is French Independence Day, they always have really important stages on Bastille Day. They're going... The stage finishes on the Alpe d'Huez, which is the most famous climb in the world of cycling. You've never heard of it, but anybody who's ever heard of anything about competitive cycling knows about Alpe d'Huez. And so it's this mountain. You ride to basically this where there's a lift station up on the mountain. All these are ski resorts. And so it's 21 turns, and it's like 16 kilometers long. And there will be 400 to 500,000 people on the side of the mountain watching the race.
Jeez.
Oh my God.
Just lining the road the whole way up. And it's just insane. People get their campers and caravans and they drive up the night before and like block off their spots. And they close the mountain the day before. So like you have to walk up the day of the stage to go watch it. Or ride a bike up. Most people ride their bikes up.
Does Jason ride a bike?
He rides his bike a lot.
Do you ride your bike?
I do stationary. I don't like going on the road.
Speaking of Star Wars, did you see I finished my ad?
I see it up there. I did not notice it.
It's dumb. Luke is dangling from his tow cable.
It's pretty cool.
He's got a thermal detonator in
ready to go. Lightsaber and a thermal detonator.
Yeah. And, another cool detail. In the back, it stores a couple of speeders.
Right.
And in Fallen Order, when there's a point where you climb into an AT-AT.
On Dathomir?
No, it's on Kashyyyk.
Yeah, Kashyyyk, that's right.
And he climbs in, and he actually goes in through over, and he has to climb over the speeders.
That's right.
And then he gets through, and I was very tickled by the detail.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's very cool.
I've yet to order the new roller coaster, but we still haven't finished that Lamborghini.
That looks like it would take forever. All those Technic pieces.
Yep, it does. But it's good because we'll do an hour here and there, and it'll take months, and then we'll buy that coaster. I'm really excited for that coaster.
I'm excited for the castle.
The castle is the same price as the coaster, though. It's insane.
It is insane, but I have to have the castle.
I must have it.
I need to set up a medieval area. It'll be a joy.
All right, are we actually done?
I think we're done. Yeah, it only took
Jumbo
us 2
size
hours.
episode.
Yep. All right. Thanks for listening. Letters at StarWarsNerdsUnite.com if you want to chime in on the Tour de France or any other topic that you'd like to talk about. We're there, Star Wars or not. May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
Did you hear that? We're doomed.
This podcast is a part of the Benview Network.
You can find this and other podcasts like it at BenviewNetwork.com.